How's it going, you guys? This is Chronicle Absolute. My name is Dion. Let's get into a little bit of trip planning. This is something that I've never really done before. I sort of kind of tried to before, like years ago, and I gave up and I stopped. you know, but I'm gonna try it again, and we'll see how this works out. So, um, this is essentially today, and that's going to be tomorrow, and then the day after tomorrow. Okay. I was in Malden, South Carolina, and I was headed to the Echo Lab in Huntington, Indiana. My workflow, it said that from Malden to Huntington, it was 545 miles. But when I got to the shipper, I picked up my load. I was ready to basically shoot out. I I went into navigation and just, I let navigation tell me, okay, how many miles is it from the shipper to the receiver? And in that case, it said that it was a total of 595 miles. That's 40 miles extra than what the original load said that it would be. 40 miles, depending on traffic and, accidents and construction work or whatever else, I'm going to say at least 1 hour extra. Okay. So I would say that most definitely anytime, you get your pre-assignment and you go through all you figure out what time that you'll be where and when based off of the mileage that they give you. But once you get your actual load and you're ready to leave from the shipper to go to the receiver, definitely you should always go back into navigation and let navigation tell you how many miles is it from point A to point B, because that's what you're going to go by, because workflow said 545 miles, but if navigation says 595 miles, I can't help but to do 595 miles, So it is what it is. So most definitely go by navigation when it comes to your final trip plan, right? So in this case, you see some of my figures. Like I said, Malden, South Carolina, going to Huntington, Indiana, 595 miles. I've calculated about a 14-hour drive, okay? That's just what I've calculated. Now, I'm not going to sit here and explain how I got to 14 hours. You, as a brand new driver, I would definitely suggest that you use the mileage times 1.1 divided by 50. Now, what you'll find, though, is that you'll probably get to your customer a little early, sometimes a few hours early, depending on how long your route was. So I would definitely say that anytime you stop for a break or whenever you end your day, whenever you can, recalculate every time that you possibly can so that you don't mess around and get to the customer 5 hours early when your appointment was at, 8 o'clock and you're there at like 3 o'clock in the morning. Some customers won't accept you that early. If you see where you might get there early, what I might suggest that you do is to call in and say, hey, customer, I'm out here. I'm about 2 hours away. Can you guys take me early? And let them tell you yes or no. I wouldn't just pop up and say, hey, I'm here. You gonna get me? I definitely wouldn't do that. So, but yeah, every time you can, go ahead and stop and just verify and just recalculate how many hours that it's going to get from point A to point B, right? So, what I've done here is I've said, okay, it's going to take me about 14 hours to get from point A to point B, okay? And so I've gone through my day, again, today, tomorrow, day after, right? And so, first and foremost, let's do this, okay? So I basically ended my day at 1800. Now, first things first, we got to figure out what the 10-hour break is. So, 1800 is 6 o'clock in military time. It's 1800, but it's actually 6 o'clock. So 6 minus 2 is 4. So that means that I can start my day at 4 o'clock in the morning. Now, I could definitely count 10, or I'll just do whatever time it is minus 2, and that gives me 4. Okay, so that's my 10-hour break, right? To calculate my 14-hour block, I'll say, hey, if I start my day at 4 o'clock in the morning, what's my 14? Okay, so 4 plus 2 is 6. And 6 translate to 1800 in military time. Very simple. So whatever your time is, minus 2 equals your 10. Whatever your time is, plus 2 equals your 14. That's what it comes down to. Now, you see both these lines here? Both those lines, that's just how I can visually see what my 14-hour clock looks like. Okay? That's all that is. That's not something that you'll be taught. That's just something that I do so that I can visually see what my time might look like. And for me, that just helps out. Okay? So I said a 14-hour drive. Okay? So all I'm going to do is we'll say, okay, well, I ended my day here. I got to drive about 14 hours. My appointment is at 10 o'clock. I don't want to get there at 10 o'clock. Never do. I want to arrive anywhere between 15 to 30 minutes early. Reason being, 1, I don't want to be late. 2, especially if you've never been to a location, more than likely you're going to have to watch some sort of a safety and training video and sign paperwork just to get a card. Look, here's my stack, if I can find it. All right, yeah. So that's my small stack. Now, I've got a lot more, but apparently it came apart and I didn't know. So that's my small stack of safety cards and watching videos and stuff like that. So, side note, you might want to get one of those I don't know, like an index card file thing, or something to stick all your safety and training cards in. Okay, but when you get to some of these big plants, they're going to have you to watch some sort of video and sign some sort of a pop quiz kind of a thing so that you can even get past the gates. Some won't let you get past the gate until you do that. Okay, so you will need time for that. Last thing that you want to do is get there on time and then go through their whole safety and training process. And then when you finally get into the gate and get to your spot, it's like 45 minutes later, because that has happened to me before. In most cases, it'll take about 15 minutes, but I have had some times where it took about 30 to 45 minutes, which is just, and that's just because they had a line and stuff like that, whatever. So give yourself some time. So I would say no more than 30 minutes, unless you're going to be really early. Then of course you might want to call in and ask, hey, can you take me now? And then you go from there. Okay. So, my appointment is at 10 o'clock. I want to get there no later than 9:30. And basically all I've done is, well, I said that, hey, I've got a 14-hour drive. Let's just break this down. Okay. So on the first day, I figured I'll drive about 8-9 hours, right? And just how I do it, I say, okay, 30-minute pre-trip, drive 5 hours, fuel, break, and then drive some more. Okay. That's just how I do it. I'm not saying that I'm going to take a break at or fuel at 9:30. I'm not saying that I'm going to take a break at 10 o'clock. That's just me basically inputting that time so that I can account for that time, if that makes any sense. I'm just accounting for the time that I know for a fact that I will use. Okay. Fueling, you can in some cases get in and out within, like, I'll say 8 to 10 minutes, maybe. Rare, but it can happen. And then there's times when you might get to a fuel stop and there's a line and it takes you 45 minutes. That's rare, but it happens. On average, about 20 to 30 minutes or so. Okay. So basically all I'm doing is I'm accounting for 30 minutes for fueling. When I go on break, normally I just take 30 minutes. Sometimes I might take a little more if I'm feeling a little sleepy, or if I just got time to kill, blah, blah, blah. I might take more than 30 minutes. But in most cases, I'm just doing 30 minutes. I want to get my break and leave and get as close to my next customer or my next destination as I possibly can, so that I can be closer still to my next customer or to my next load or to my next destination. You know, that's just the way that I see it. Okay, so pre-trip, drive 5 hours, break, fuel, drive some more. On this day, I know that I want to be there by 9:30. So all I'm doing is I'm just counting backwards. You know, because again, if I'm ending my day at 14:30, what's that translate into? Okay, so 14:30, that is 2:30. 2:30 minus 2 is midnight 30. So I could potentially start my day midnight 30 this day and then drive if I needed to. But since I'm counting backwards, and that's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah. Since I only have 5 hours left to drive, I'm just counting backwards to show me what time that I had to start my day. And in this case, it happened to be 4 o'clock in the morning. Fine. My next available time and location is right here, Huntington, Indiana, at, well, really that should be 11:30 because it's about 2 hours to actually do the unload. So let's get that fixed right quick. 11:30. Okay. 11:30 is my next available time, my next available location, and that's just because I don't have a tank wash option after that. So at that point, I don't know where I might be going. So I'm saying, hey, I'll be ready at this time for the next load, for the next location. You know, next available time, next available location. My ETA is 9:30 in the morning, God willing. Okay, hope that makes sense. And now that I think about it, what I might do is several of these trip planning things on like real loads. That way, you guys can have an understanding of you know what I'm looking at, why I do certain things, and then we'll just go from there. So I definitely hope that this helps. Okay, so 52. That's the amount of time that I'll have on my 70-hour clock after I'm done right here. And see, one of the reasons why I do the lines here is that I got to figure out what my 14-hour clock is, as well as my 11-hour clock. So at this point, all I'm doing is just counting backwards from the line. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.5 hours on my 14. Okay. On my 11, I drove 5 hours here, so that's 6 hours left on my 11-hour clock. Very simple. Okay. This doesn't have to be hard. It's just a matter of using all of the rules and regulations that we have to contend with. We know for a fact that we have to take a 30-minute break within 8 hours. We know this, right? We know that we can't drive 11 hours. We know that we can't work more than 14 hours, or, you know, yeah, work more than 14 hours. I'll just make it plain, you know? So we have these rules and regulations, right? So all that we're doing is basically applying what we can do within the rules that we have. Okay. So anyway, I hope this helps. And I think, again, like I said, I think what I'll do is I'll do more of these so that you guys have a better understanding of how to do this. So again, I'm not going to tell you guys what I do in order to figure out my time, just because I'm using experience. I've been driving, I don't know, 4.5, 5 years now, something like that, just about. So I'm using experience, whereas you being brand new, you don't have that experience, you know. So anyway, until next time, you guys be good and be safe in all what you do. Bye.